Before we get into that, can I jump into something that I showed earlier on when Rob Glenn was on the show? It's going to be an All Tech Friday, apparently. Also, let me say hi to the chat for a second, though. Let's remember these poor millionaires and billionaires. Yes, they're having a rough time of it. It's great TV, though. Sure. Thank you so much. Oh, I appreciate that. Can't wait till every rug is there. Yeah. Well, it's all rug pull ultimately. That's going to be fun. Can you use the Golden Fort Knox? Yeah. Yeah. So Glenn is fucking stupid, and I've told you that, like, most people talk about AI the way they talk about in a vacillation between a teaspoon of water that cannot quench your thirst and is not quite there yet, to a tidal wave that's going to wipe out everything. Glenn is in the tidal wave camp. It shouldn't come as any surprise, because largely he's dumb. I don't know how he built I think it's the chalkboard that gave him the illusion of knowing anything about this shit, but he's dumb. And I have not pre-watched this. I just saw, God bless you, Can't Stop Lying, found this video, and I was like, head desk.
I want to talk about who creates. I want to talk about who creates jobs. What's happening with the economy? We're going to get into that here in a second. But Stu, when we went off the air.
Let me guess. When a Democrat is in office, it's not the federal government. Only private industry creates jobs. And when Donald Trump is in, he gets credit for every job that is gained, and the losses are not his fault. I'll just save you the trouble of watching whatever he
here in the commercial break. He was like, I don't know if I agree with you on what I'm saying is freeze all of the big spend. Do not start any new airplane design at the Pentagon that is a 10-year contract. That most likely will be a waste of money, because AGI and ASI is coming.
You tell him, Glenn. AGI would be artificial general intelligence, which would be a good description for shit for brains here and what he thinks he knows. The toss up between AGI and ASI, as far as a term, is useless. I would argue that AGI, what they call artificial general intelligence, is what we think of when we think of AI. If it ain't AGI yet by their measure, it ain't AI yet by 99% of the people who are paying attention's measure.
And that will change everything. It will change warfare.
It's artificial superintelligence, by the way, is the ASI.
Just will. Drones, $500 each, have already changed warfare.
Right. Yeah, that's why Ukraine's still going to be able to fight on with just the resources that Europe gives them, and they don't necessarily need our help anymore. We got them over the hump. Thank you, Joe Biden. And Trump got in just in time to not be able to really do shit.
We have to be preparing for the future, and
that's right. We need mosquito-sized drones that explode and grub your backside.
Future is much more nimble, much smaller, and I have a feeling much cheaper.
Are you concerned about a bridge here, though? And we don't know when this is coming. We don't know how it's going to develop. We don't know what it's going to look like. No one.
I'm glad I tuned in for information. Thanks, Stu.
Does. So, we still need the best planes. Well, planes are important, right?
But we don't need to start any new. Fix what we have. Finish.
Yeah, throw some fucking duct tape on it. Look, we're not going to need battleships. The future is going to be one with fingernail-sized killer drones that just like, and then they just go right through you, and they leave a teeny little slice right here and a teeny little slice in the back, and then you don't even kill you. They just turn you into an automaton working for the other side.
What you've got.
It's a Neuralink. There's going to be like these drones that drop Neuralinks on people and just like land on your head, and like pod people, they just grow into your head, and then you become an agent for the other side, and you go on stabby stab, and it's way cheaper.
In production, but you don't need to sit down and okay a new design for a new.
Also, what are you talking about? No, they haven't announced an F-40, you dumb motherfucker.
fighter jet.
It's a big bet, though. I mean, you're making a big bet on ASI and AGI with no backup plan. I mean, why wouldn't you want to have still the best planes
That's right, Stu. Argue for more government spending. I'm enjoying this.
in your arsenal?
I think, look, let's look at it this way.
Yes, please help us out. Man who is in another video wearing a cowboy hat because he believes the cowboy lifestyle is coming back, and the rest of the time is wearing a oddly fitting white sweater that kind of matches his microphone that looks like a Dove bar with no chocolate on it, and a Ralph Lauren polo hat.
Our generation's Manhattan Project is AIASI.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for working so hard on it. Yes. The app generation finally gave us something.
Back when FDR was convinced by Einstein, he didn't believe it could happen. Okay. And Einstein came in and said, listen, I'm from Germany. They'll do it. And
Why did he have an Italian accent?
oh, he convinced him, go ahead, build this bomb. It was magical. Nobody knew that we could even get there. We could split the atom, but what does that mean? Can we actually make a bomb that will work? We put everything we had into it.
No, we didn't. We didn't stop building airplanes and boats and every other aspect of war to do it, though, dumb fuck. That's the point Stu is making. Don't make me defend Stu. He's dumb too. You can't spell stupid without him.
And we continue to build planes and everything else because we were currently fighting a war. And we didn't know if that would happen. Up until the very last moment when they said, dear God, what have we done? Okay?
Is that what they did? Dear God, what have I done? Oh, that.
This generation, it's going to end the same way in 3 to 5 years, except this time we know it's going to happen. Almost everybody who was a naysayer on ASI, almost all of them are now saying, oh, dear God, yes, it's coming, and it's coming much faster than we thought. It will be here by 2030. Most likely, it'll be here in the next 3 years.
Right. This is a man fearing his own obsolescence. Because if anything is able to point out his lack of intelligence, it will be artificial superintelligence. Meanwhile, what do you think he's going to do after that happens? I guess after he has to throw out his chalkboard, skate on personality.
Now, if that time continues to collapse, I mean, just in the last 5 years, it's gone from 2050, maybe, to now 2028, 2029. If that continues to collapse like that, we're at the event horizon of the singularity. So we know it's going to happen.
So Glenn is now a transhumanist and can't wait to get his Neuralink. He's going to sign up right away. Hey, it's like Noah's Ark, man. You either hop on board or the tide's going to get you.
Our job is to just bridge the gap as much as possible, but
yeah, at the Blaze. That's sorry, just to clarify. Our job at the Blaze.
Don't build things that we don't know are. Here's what our Pentagon should be doing right now.
Great. This is going to be good. Here's what our Pentagon should be doing right now.
Building nuclear power plants. Our Army Corps of Engineers should be building those little teeny nuclear power plants, build as many as they...
Yeah, the cute ones. The little teeny ones. Asshole. What you mean is he thinks you're going to power things, and micronuclear is a genuine thing. This isn't an original thought to Glenn, but they're going to take the same nuclear power plants that power nuclear submarines. This is why he thinks the Pentagon should be doing it, which makes no fucking sense. I don't know why it would be the Army Corps of Engineers. What kind of commie bullshit is this? How about you license the ability to make smaller nuclear reactors, which aren't a fucking mystery, to companies that make the bigger ones so that they can provide them at a cheaper cost and be responsible for them overall, just like you would do with coal plants and stuff, instead of making the taxpayer on the hook for exposing, I guess, the propulsion systems of our nuclear submarines by building one outside of the town hall in Wisconsin.
Possibly can. You don't even have to start them up yet. Just have them ready to...
Yeah, don't just build a bunch of nuclear reactors and sit on them.
Oh. So when the server farms are ready, when AI is there, we can power it. We won't have
It doesn't work that way. It's not like a cake. Like as soon as the batter's finished,
the power to be able to have ASI think and affect. We have to start thinking towards the future.
hey, asshole, if you're saying it's going to come and it's going to be here faster than anybody thinks, but you're saying we don't have the power to power it once it does arrive, then we don't have it. Here's an idea. If you even get close to artificial general intelligence or artificial superintelligence, and it can think, one of the first things it's going to tell you how to do is power it. Why are you guys using nuclear reactors? Why don't you just use, or at least use thorium reactors? Save yourself the trouble. You can't weaponize the residual material from it.
Not what's the next generation of fighter jet look like? There ain't going to be one, dude. There's just not. At least with a person in it.
Right, because it's still going to have. I mean, AI is going to probably come up with something that flies that is going to.
Yeah, it's going to be hypersonic, and it is going to. I mean, it might even be of a new material. Here's what people don't understand. ASI is going to look at the periodic table of elements and go, guys, shuffle the deck this way, and you have a material that will go 9,000 miles an hour. It will hold up under the heat and the friction.
So why would you need war ever? Again, the hoverboard fallacy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you have fucking simpletons running shit. All right. Chat room, I've talked to you guys about the hoverboard fallacy, and it's time we address it. Back, let's see. Future. So, in Back to the Future, fun costume Back to the Future hoverboard. Oh, that's cute. Try to Futurepedia fandom. Here you go. This is a picture of it. There you go. Yeah. Okay. So, love the shoes, by the way. Love the shoes in this, ladies and gentlemen. It's funny because I'm wearing like grayish kind of shoes myself, but they're all right. Anyways, I wear shoes. I'm like Mr. Rogers. I wear shoes inside the house because I feel like I have to work wearing shoes. Anyways, hoverboard. Okay, so in this movie, Marty McFly recreates the famous skateboard scene, but instead, because it's of using another kid's little, like roller skate wheel built scooter, he breaks off and turns into a skateboard. He jumps on this thing, which is the skateboard of the future. But I need you to know that if this kind of technology existed, where you had an anti-gravity or magnetic repulsor, or even an efficient enough fan that could blast air out of it if it was indeed just wind using this. If you had this kind of technology where you could use this as a toy and it was readily available to be purchased by children on the streets, that the kind of technological advancements you'd have to have everywhere else would be fucking absurd. If you could power that, nobody needs fuel anymore. Nobody needs rubber for tires anymore. There wouldn't be any wheeled vehicles at all. If you have this, rocket ships no longer need propulsion to get off the planet. So the idea that there's a Biff Tannen that has power over other people is fucking dumb. The hoverboard technology is indeed the great equalizer. If you've gotten to the point where a kid can get this for Christmas, that means this technology has been ubiquitously used everywhere for a myriad of fucking things. And a lot of it would simply entail making transportation almost entirely free. Now, along with that, there's another one that goes along with the hoverboard fallacy. And that is, yeah, this could, get out of here. They're not really, shit, they sold them. God damn, somebody has this thing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the teleportation pod from The Fly. Help me. Apparently they weren't sold in pairs, but it was sold on my birthday in 2019 and not to me. So, damn it. But anybody know where I'm going to go with this shit? Never mind the fact that it looks like a helmet for a sci-fi villain from a 1950s movie. Doesn't it? Like if somebody wore it on a head, they look like they were like in this like robot diving bell outfit, you know, Mars Needs Women kind of movie. It would look like this. So where does the movie fall apart in The Fly? And I love The Fly. I need you to know this. I love it. Love the movie. It's the only movie that my cousin Jerome and I, when we were watching it, we saw it in a theater where we both screamed out loud in a theater from fear, disgust, and surprise. And when he breaks the dude's arm, spoiler alert, when he's got fly powers and he arm wrestles the dude, cracks his arm in half, right? And his bone comes out his arm, like, ah, like that. We both went, like we couldn't even fight it. It just burst forth. Okay. So love the movie, but where does it fall apart? It falls apart in one particular scene. And that is when he brings in Gina Davis and he says, I can teleport inanimate objects, but I can't get it to teleport flesh. It gets confused by flesh. I can't send animals through it. They get all fucked up and it gets confused by the flesh and humans can't teleport through it or whatever. To which I would say, who fucking cares? Jesus Christ, man. You've created a technology that eliminates the cost of transportation for all goods on the planet at a matter of scale. You'll work out the people part later. What's the fucking rush? You invented a thing that can teleport non-material items. Good God, man. Think how much energy, pollution that would save. You would eliminate the carbon footprint of humankind if you simply put something like this in where you could teleport things instead of putting it on a fucking truck. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking, ladies and gentlemen. You're thinking, fuck, I would hate to go see a sci-fi movie with him. But you would be wrong because I keep my mouth shut in the theater and I watch the whole thing. It's after, when we're having dinner, that I'll go, that might annoy you. But during, we'll have a great time. Great time. And it's only because I love science fiction that I start picking these things apart. So, do you understand the trillions of dollars you would make / save with this technology before you ever had to go, all right, let's see if we can figure out why we can't send a person through. Well, how about we do massive testing on a bunch of different things? Start with mice and insects and that kind of stuff, and then work our way up, or develop all this stuff, and then in the process, AI gives us the ability to figure out what the thing. Don't have a fly inside, whatever it was. Okay, so hoverboard fallacy and the fly pod issue. Both of these drive me fucking crazy because I love the movie, but why in the ever-loving shit would you care if you could teleport persons when you could teleport stuff anywhere via wire? So let's just say, how long before you make a cellular version of that? Then you could send goods ahead to any planet that you put one of these things on, right? See where I'm going? And then McFly, aha, yeah, see what happened? They are tied together. And the hoverboard would allow you also to transport things. Think of the impact that would have on the carbon output of the human race. Right? Okay. So it's all the ancillary elements of it and this sort of bum rush towards limited thinking that aggravates the shit out of me when we start talking about these issues. And when a dum-dum like Glenn Beck starts describing a future where he's like, it's going to be hypersonic missiles and it's going to shuffle the periodic table and go, hey guys, why don't you need this? Okay, well, why don't you just use this stuff, or we'll create a super material that allows a rocket to fly? Hey, asshole. If it can do that, it can show us how to power everything we have in a hoverboard-like fashion as well. Or it's a shorter distance, like how do we do free energy here using seawater? How do we solve cold fusion, right? That's what you would use it for, not a fucking missile so you could blow up somebody else. And secondarily, like once that's available, you start lowering the number of things that people have to fight for in their lives on the planet. Foodstuffs, energy, transportation, all those elements. Then you lower violence on the planet inexorably. There's boredom crimes, the psychosexual type, those you have to be concerned with. But as far as, war across borders for resources, that basically fucking evaporates. Never mind the ability to put a ring around the earth that gathers the sun's rays, that sends energy back to it, and that we use as a fucking vacation spot. And you go to near earth gravity land, and the ability for the human race to fend off any asteroid that might kill us all, and blah, blah, blah. Then terraforming other planets, sending stuff ahead to terraform planets. Like, that's where you would go. Instead of help me make a better hypersonic missile. It's such chump thinking.
It won't bend. It's perfect. And
why don't you use this to make all your bridges instead of missiles? And I will show you how to make it cheaply. Your infrastructure costs are going to go through the floor because I'm giving you a non-rusting material you can build bridges out of, and you could just get on the process of replacing all of them, and that will, busy your people for a decade or so, and then they'll never have to build these fucking things again. I will make your roads, be able to charge electric vehicles as they drive across them and resilient against all forms of weather using these materials. That's where you would go. You wouldn't go straight to fucking hypersonic missile.
Only a quarter of the weight. And
why'd you look at Stu when you said that? Well, that wasn't nice.
Wait, here's the formula, and you don't have to go and test it for 2 years. It's correct. Do it. I mean, that's how.
Yes, AI, we will make the super missile. Yes, we will follow your orders. It said do it. Do it.
Fast things are going to happen once they start happening. And Stu, this scares the hell out of me.
Why? Because a bunch of it's going to be about vaccines?
Do you know how I feel about AI?
Yeah, I was going to ask you because AI.
Your intelligence is artificial. Do you just take it personally? Or?
Obviously has a lot of negative potential consequences. And if we're putting the government, military in control of that, does that scare you?
No. I'm not saying that we put the government in control of it.
Okay.
We have to balance all of this, but the government is already involved in it. I'm saying let the government build like power plants. Build the things that we know the country's going to need, the infrastructure, to be able to handle this.
Build our own robots to fight the AI's robots that are going to kill us all. No, what he means is the taxpayer should provide the energy sources for the future needs of AI if they turn out to need as much power as they seem to think they will. And in exchange, the private companies will plug their AIs up to it and let us have a little bit of it if we're nice to them.
The things that when they say, we got it, we can turn it on.
Yeah, get prepared for whatever's coming here.
Turn it on, turn it on, turn it on again.
Too, I guess I'm concerned, and this is, from a guy I've talked to for 20 years who continually repeats the phrase, I'm always wrong about timing. I'm concerned about that bridge period. Because I think you're probably right. It is coming really, really fast. But if something happens, if something goes off course, if you don't know,
how
you
do
need
we
to be
spend
Both of them are being stupid. Glenn's saying don't start any new F-35 projects. They're going to take a decade. And Stu's saying, what if we don't have them over the bridge area? Well, that bridge area would have to be past the 10-year mark. So you improve what you're building. Also, why wouldn't you just use AI in the interim to do both? If it's going to come up with a magic material, then you can go, we have this design. We're just going to use a different material because we came up with it because of the see what I mean? This is the hoverboard fallacy. These motherfuckers can't, they're intellectually incapable of grasping the conversation they are actually having. And it's painful. I'm not just going to say it's painful for me to watch.
For that bridge period.
How do we spend $877 billion every single year? Every year.
Mm-hmm.
China spends 200 and some billion dollars every year. And it's that close?
No, it fucking isn't. You dipshit. Hold on. And that's where he's going with this? Motherfucker. Hold on. He's gonna fucking, oh, God damn it. That's water pooling. It's the, hold on. Trying to find a picture. Yeah. Man, they're just spending, there are 2 super carriers the Chinese have. One of them is the Minsk. And this is it on fire. Old aircraft carrier, once part of mighty Soviet fleet, burns in Chinese lagoon. Of the 2 super carriers that they have, one of them caught fire last August. They're not way ahead, dum-dum. They just have a lot of people. Not as many as they say they do. It's a myth. It's bullshit. I got news for you. Russia spends a lot less too, and we've discovered that their stories about their military superiority were fake.
If it's that close, we got other problems.
You're saying that we should sort of
should
rest on our.
First of all, asshole, it's not close. The U.S. patrols the waterways all over the world. We keep commerce flowing. That's what we spend it on, and without it, we wouldn't be the top fucking economy on the planet.
A little bit and just say, hey, we already have the best technology. We already have the best military. Let's not try to develop new things until this AI thing comes.
They're developing new stuff as well.
Yeah.
Great. Let's give some time to AI. Let's not double our work. Let's not spend money now on things that most likely are. Don't build another aircraft carrier. Don't design another F-57. Don't do it. It's not.
They aren't. An asshole, what do you think they're going to have to do? These fucking nuclear power plants you're talking about that you want built so that you can power AI, that's where you're going to spend the money, shithead. It's not like you're going to save any. You're just talking about diversion of funds.
You have no idea what's coming. Fix the stuff we have.
Glenn does.
Make sure we have the ammunition. Make sure we have the latest and the greatest that's already here. Don't do R&D on that stuff. Don't do it. And by the way, you can't tell me that, again, $900 billion over, let's say, 250 or let's say 300 for China. We spend 3 times the amount every year and we're not competitive?
Yeah, we are. Again, Chinese propaganda does not make what we've done with the U.S. military obsolete. And secondarily, the reason we spend that money is because we take care of our people after the fact. We spend a lot of it on VA. We spend it on military weapons development and procurement and making sure stuff actually fucking works. And they end up with missiles that have water in the tanks instead of fuel.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
And if it is, everybody in the Pentagon should go to jail.
I do think we're certainly
Of course we
competitive.
are.
I will say that, like, to me, I think there's a lot of older projects. There's a bunch of crap in our military that
All
stuff
gone.
is my higher
Yeah, I got. Thanks, Stu. Get rid of the crap.
priority target. Let's put it that way. Than eliminating potential innovations in these fields. Even though I know what you're saying, they might be obsolete in a few years.
Then you have to come in front of a committee that is like filled with Elon Musk's.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. You mean the guy whose rocket just blew up?
And say,
hey, all you Elon Musks, why are you shitting on me? None of my ships ever sank. Yeah, show these people who's boss, man. Go away, shoo. Get in here. Here we go. Play this thing. Pause and okay, beard guy. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, okay, whatever. And good for you. And piss off. And get on with it. Try to do it here. That's good.
Exploded minutes after liftoff, marking an end to its 8th test flight. The explosion has caused flight delays in several states, including Florida, after debris from...
Yeah, so all you Navy guys with your stupid fucking boats need to sit in front of Elon Musk and tell him why you're such a screw-up.
Rocket rained down in multiple states and countries. Fiery debris streaked the skies near South Florida and the Caribbean, with some wreckage landing as far north as Philadelphia. The unmanned...
Yeah. How the fuck do you... What? How do you launch a rocket in Florida and get debris in Philadelphia?
rocket launched just after 6:30 p.m. Thursday, taking off from Texas. Starship broke up in space quickly after it appeared some of the engines...
That explains it. Everything's bigger in Texas, including rocket explosions.
...failed and began to spin out of control. The explosion marked...
Yeah, that's... you think Trump's going to come out and go, when I saw Trump's wonderful rockets, and, he's got those arms that grab it when it comes out, and it just blew up and exploded all over the place. Kind of like when Walt changes my diaper. Yeah, bunch of something super Elon Musk's. Yes, they should all have to sit before Elon Musk and his exploding rockets.
Here's the pitch. I don't want the decisions be made by the senators or the generals at this point.
Yeah.
Here's the pitch. Here's why we think this fits with tomorrow's technology.
And then that can...
This is amazing. Okay, let's finish on this because this is kind of important. I have told you guys about Elon Musk's grandfather and the technocrats the technocracy. The technate, that's what they call it. There we go. Here it is. The technate of America. That's what they plan. That's what Elon Musk and his group wanted. There's Greenland, Canada, America, Mexico, and the Bahamas and Cuba and all this stuff down here, and part of South America and like Papua New Guinea. And all of it would be under the technate of America, a techno state that is not run by politicians or democracy. It's run by engineers. The purpose of the whole thing is that it will be run by engineers who will decide what's best for the people involved, based on the material worth of the people that we're talking about, their output, their energy, the money that would exchange hand would be indicative of energy. You get energy coupons, and that's how you would trade in this. And the technate concept is part of the transhumanism movement. Now, If you think like these like dickheads at let me try to find a picture. Da, 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 da. There you go. The Lausen movement too. That's weird. If you think these guys hate transgender or transsexual movements, wait till you hear what they believe about transhumanism, which is the singularity where humans and technology bond and never uncouple. And that this is the shit that they warn about all the time. That they're convinced that the WEF and George Soros and all these people want. No death and an enhanced life is the future transhuman. 21st century tech revolution is transforming human lives across the globe. And the idea that you'll just basically replace parts of yourself with robot parts until such time as you can kind of live forever. And that'll be that. And transhumanism is a big part of that. There's the guy running with no legs and cybernetics and people freezing themselves. And there's all this stuff. Okay. People who want to be alive, and there's a exoskeleton for somebody who can't walk that controls his movements from that point. Okay, so this is the transhumanism movement. This is the big, the sort of start of it, which is this crisscross between technology and human life. And, well, death would be relative, I would also say. As some people are like, no death, yikes. But you wouldn't be tired either. It's a great element of one of the reasons why Superman and, to some degree, Captain America are as positive as they are, and why there's a hoverboard problem with Wolverine. And here's why. One of the reasons you develop PTSD is because of the inability to reform synapses in a damaged brain caused by trauma. It's one of the reasons. And the other thing, too, is that the exhaustion that goes with it physically in your body translates into an emotional state as almost a form of chronic pain. And if you were Superman or you were Captain America with the super soldier serum, you don't feel pain consistently beyond a certain point the way other people do it. You heal so swiftly that you don't even you couldn't even develop a form of PTSD if you tried. And when it comes to like Wolverine, because he heals next to immediately, he just gets annoyed by the pain. The anger comes from the fact that he has a memory of the pain. But even that would be short-lived because your brain wouldn't latch onto it with a mortal's force. Your brain, one of the reasons why we attach to pain so much is because there was no, the time between the feeling of pain and the next pain, you don't get a break. But if you would heal that fast, you would. So, or Spider-Man, similar kind of thing. It's why he has a cheery personality. Part of it is because his brain just doesn't receive the damage caused by, physical harm and the emotional harm that we all go through, because your brain would heal before you even stuffed in the bad memory, right? Okay, so, and one of the signs about this is, like the best example of it is the part in Captain America: The First Avenger where Bucky dies, and they show him, they show Steve Rogers drinking in this blown up bar, and he can't get drunk because of how his body assimilates dissipates the alcohol. His metabolism is so fucking high that he can't get drunk. Okay, and so because of that, he doesn't perceive things the way other people would if they were drunk. He could never be drunk, therefore he could never have a memory installed in his brain or removed from his brain because he was drunk. He can't miss out on it the way normal people do. So, where am I going with this? Okay, so transhumanism, if you were to live forever, you had an immortal body. While you might accumulate the memories of your life, and you might have a romantic view of those that passed and didn't continue on and all that kind of stuff, they wouldn't be burrowed into your synapses painfully the way they would be if you were moral and couldn't, after it happened, like if you didn't grind on them and ruminate on them caused by the synaptic, growth in your brain that ties this moment with this pain and stays there. Because it would be it would heal. You would, yeah. So you can't. None of us can process what immortality would be like in a mortal body. In the same way that we're all looking at these two dipshits trying to understand intelligence. Neither of them have the contemplative ego structure capable of comprehending any of this. This is a hamster on a wheel that we're watching. You're not watching someone ruminating over a reality. And Stu, bless his heart, tries every so often to have an original thought. And because he's around Glenn, they never get off the ground. And Glenn just regurgitates stuff he's read online. Stuff I've read online as well, but you think about it. You don't just spit it back out.
An advisory role, but we do have a system of government that we have to follow.
I know.
Right?
But they should be the ones who go, don't do that, Senator. Don't do that. That's stupid. Don't do that. If they want to do that, then we can vote them out.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, asshole, what the fuck do you think climate scientists were doing? Sorry, you wanted us to listen to fucking Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene over climate scientists? For real, think about this for a fucking second. Again, we don't need a double standard. One standard will do just fine. And it's kind of a moot point when these people have no fucking standards.
And we'll all know which ones are just doing it because they're funneling money to their friends.
What money? What friends? What, at Boeing or other businesses in North Carolina or Texas?
Part of this comes to the idea that the way I think about government spending, which is government spending is always worse than the private sector.
Fuck you. No, it isn't. The private sector has no reason whatsoever to come up with epilepsy medication. There's not a big enough market. Without the subsidies of the NIH, the CDC, and that, and ultimately Health and Human Services, you don't have treatments for a lot of these diseases because there's no impetus for them to even do it. And they're not going to do it on a whim. They're not going to just go, well, why don't we spend a decade chasing this down to see if we can find a solution for it, to never make any money. They can't. That's the government's job. Companies have to have a profit. Government's profit is entirely on the health, safety, and welfare of the citizenry, even if they go into debt doing it.
Which is a very basic conservative point, right?
Yeah, it's stupid. It's completely ignorant. Hey, Stu, when's the last time you used a private highway? Think private industry would have put together an FAA worth of fuck? We're seeing guys from the private industry try to better the FAA, and we're seeing a lot of planes fall out of the sky.
I think, though, the one time that you obviously constitutionally you have certain powers that the government spends. Defense is one of them that they're going to typically be responsible for. The way I look at it is government can do some things relatively well.
Oh, that's sweet.
If you don't care about efficiency. But businesses do, right? So they will.
No, you can't even have efficiency during the research and development process because you don't know what processes you can even shorten until you've established the existence of those processes. Stupid. Nobody looking for a cancer cure is working about the efficiencies of finding the cancer cure. They're trying to solve the fucking problem. Then, when they have the cancer cure, then they can go, okay, we didn't need this material and we can produce it better over time and lower the cost ultimately. But all R&D is inefficient. All of it. Which is exactly what you're talking about with the military. That's why he's going, don't spend $35 billion on a new airplane, whatever. Well, why would you do that? Because the R&D process is fucking expensive.
not take certain risks that, you know, have a low percentage chance of paying off. And the idea that maybe you come up with a nuclear bomb and you're able to stop global wars for multiple decades. You know, a private company, you know, certainly they shouldn't be coming up with nuclear bombs, but you know what I'm saying? Like that type of risk, that type of expenditure that will likely fail is the type of thing that the government can take on, because when you don't care about efficiency, when you don't care about, hey, we tried 25 things, 24 of them failed.
Right.
That's okay.
Look, private industry should be doing this. And
okay, first of all, the whole Edison story these dumb motherfuckers tell each other is that he didn't fail 1,000 times. He figured out 999 ways not to make a light bulb, right? That's the bootstraps, and stand up on your own 2 feet and keep inventing, because you don't ever know how close you are in all your failures to a final success. They'll tell, I mean, Jesus Christ, this is straight up Tony Robbins stuff, dummy. And it isn't that they don't care. Government does care about efficiency. Once the thing is built, once the thing is done. But there's no such thing as like, all right, we've got to win this war, but we have to do it efficiently in the middle of the war. Efficiency is something you do during peacetime. Efficiencies are things you come up with when all your needs are already met and you're trying to lower the costs. Efficiencies are the kind of thing that chubby fucks like these guys talk about all the time. Once your needs are all met, you can start talking about, do I really have to get up and shouldn't I have a remote control? Would that be more efficient if I could just sit here like a king with a scepter going off with his head, off with his head. I don't like this. I don't like this guy. Off with his head, off with his head. And the king of my castle, king of the castle.
Reading this, but the government's already in bed with DARPA's already doing this. I mean, the CIA was the one who helped fund Silicon Valley in the 1960s. So please
shut the fuck up. Also helped fund Silicon Valley. So please, so they decided to put it out in San Francisco to be closer to fucking what? The Tenderloin?
Let's get over our little illusion that they're not involved in any of this. Let me give you an example on something that I hope.
All right. So basically you're saying that Apple and all these trillion-dollar companies wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the government? How do these guys not just slam their face into every door they walk into? They walk through, like just walk over, just bash your head against a wall. How do you say shit this dumb and not realize you've just circled back on your own fucking point? God damn. I'm sorry if this is bothering everyone or boring you to tears. It's something that sticks in my craw.
President's going to talk about tonight. The private sector versus big government and Biden's spending spree. What Trump is doing and what Biden did.
Yeah, tell us all about it.
The president's been in for 40 days. I've never seen anything like this in 40 days.
Yeah, it's a bunch of proclamations and executive orders, and only signed one bill, and it was something that the Democrats negotiated. They just slapped another name on it to get Republicans to vote for a border bill. Fucking fantastic.
So he's been in office for 40 days, and the numbers he's bringing into the economy are staggering.
No, they're not. They're all from the Chips and Science Act.
Yesterday, Taiwan Semiconductors,
which got the seed money and the loans and the approval from the Chips and Science Act,
is the greatest news you could possibly hear if you understand what this means. Taiwan,
and Glenn does,
makes all of the best semiconductors and superconductors, and they're dropping $100 billion to
by the way, MADE is doing a lot of work here. They manufacture them. They're designed in Silicon Valley by American companies, and many of which, Glenn thinks were seeded by the CIA, probably alien tech.
Chip factories here in America. Apple, $500 billion over 4 years to crank up its manufacturing. Think Texas.
Because they're shutting down the fucking Chinese stuff because of the Chips and Science Act. They got the seed money and the tax breaks for a decade.
Plants, not sweatshops. SoftBank is in for $100 billion on AI. UAE is tossing $20 billion into data centers. That's $700 billion in private sector commitments. Now, some people are saying that it's as high as 1.7 trillion, but I can't track those numbers and I can get a lot of rumors. I can get a lot of, yeah, maybe, but I don't have, this is real. This is almost $1 trillion. Remember the investment for Barack Obama, the Reinvestment Act was $787 billion. This is $720 billion, all coming not from tax dollars, not from government IOUs, but real money from companies all around the world that are betting on America.
Well, they're also retreating into America as China collapses.
This number, like I said, can be.
And also, by the way, the government money that went out in the Recovery Act and specifically because of the 2009 crash salvaged the entire fucking economy, which is worth $30 trillion. Meanwhile, you think these guys investing 1.7 over the course of over a decade or over 6 years is integral to the existence of the economy? It's definitely necessary, definitely a great idea, but it's a trickle compared to what ultimately AI is going to do.
Verified, and they're not handouts. Now, just the investment from TCMC could mean 40,000 construction jobs and 6,000 high-tech gigs.
Hey, asshole, the construction jobs go away, right?
Thousands. This is the private sector, not because Uncle Sam wrote a check, but because
Uncle Sam wrote a check.
Demanded the same rules on tariffs for everyone. We're going to charge you what you charge us.
Yeah, no, the stuff that's made by Taiwan Semiconductor in Taiwan doesn't fall under the tariff stuff because it's American companies making their stuff there. There is no fucking way that he would charge them a tariff on necessary semiconductors that we have to have for everything. Dude, he's called off his fucking Canada and Mexico tariffs. You don't think he would call them off on semiconductors that we desperately need for the Golden Dome?
That is fair on any playground anywhere in the world. And then he sweetened the deal by cutting the red tape and the tax advantages that no other country will offer and said, build it here, bring those jobs here.
Right, which is a financial incentive. You cut regulation and taxes, then they pay less to do it. And they got the seed money from the Biden administration, so he's double dipping them. Dumb.
We're a stable country.
Fuck me. Again, the amount of dumb floating around maggot land right now is stunning. And I have to say, it is only rivaled by the duplicity and the double standards that they have. And it seems like they are just fucking unable to grasp it. Like they are just not capable of of processing any of this shit. It's fucking painful. Like I practically get a nosebleed. Listen.